Hello, hello. Okay, let's see if it works this time. Facebook is being weird, but I think it's working, so I'm just going to keep talking. Okay, so if you've done a group with me in the past, you know that I have talked about the emotional cycle of change. And I think it's a really helpful tool when you're trying to make changes to your life, when you're trying to build new habits, when you're trying to build new routines, to know kind of the cycle that your brain is going to go through, so that you know what to expect and so you can overcome it. I thought about thinking up some ways that you can overcome each stage and kind of keep going through each stage. Maybe I'll brainstorm a couple things and put them in the comments, or if you guys think of something as I'm reading this, feel free to drop it in the comments. So I'm gonna just get going. So this book, it's called The 12-Week Year by Moran/Lennington. Brian Moran and Michael Lennington. Get more done in 12 weeks than others do in 12 months. The whole book is really, really good, but there's a chapter called The Execution System, chapter 12, and they talk about vision, planning, process control, the way you use your time, accountability, and how important those things are when you have big goals that you want for your life. This section is all about the emotional cycle of change. And basically, change is uncomfortable. We know that. And it's helpful to understand the process that we go through emotionally when faced with change so that we won't be derailed by it. And this can go for any change that you're experiencing in your life or any change that you want to make in your life. This can go for new relationships. This can go for new purchases, new jobs, new neighborhoods, anything. And it's always the same, they said. Sometimes the highs are higher, sometimes the lows are lower. Sometimes the cycle itself is shorter and other times it's longer. But in all cases, you will experience this cycle when you decide to make a change in your life. So there's 5 stages. Uninformed optimism is the first one. And basically, if you think of it like a chart, you're going to start here, you're going to go down, and then you're going to come back up. If you keep going, that's why consistency and continuing on through, even when it gets hard, is so important. So the first phase, uninformed optimism. This is the positive emotional area of the graph. This is like when we started the group, or when I invited you to the group, or when you bought your challenge pack and you're so excited to start again, or you're excited to keep going, maybe because this is been your 5th group of mine or something. But it is where you're most excited to get going and get started. You can see all of the benefits of whatever change you're wanting to make, and none of the downside. You are brainstorming ideas and strategizing how you can make these new habits sustainable in your life. And you're excited about feeling good again. You're excited about losing 5 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever it is. You're excited about getting strong and eating better. But unfortunately, this excitement it doesn't last long. This uninformed optimism doesn't last long. You learn as you get started more about the reality of what it takes to make these changes to your life. And so your emotions can quickly go negative. They quickly sour. So the second stage, so you were here and now we're here. This is called, we're going down, this is called informed pessimism. And this is characterized by a shift to a negative emotional state. At this point, the benefits that you once saw and once wanted, they don't seem as real, important, or immediate. And the costs of the change are more apparent. So you're realizing that it takes time management to plan your food and prep your food. You're realizing that if you don't get your butt out of bed in the morning, you're not going to by the end of the day, you're just exhausted and you're not able to get that workout in. And so you are starting to feel the discomfort a little bit. You start to question if this change that you once wanted is as important as it once was. And you look for ways to abandon ship. You look for ways to abandon the effort. And at this point, this is when most people, well, a lot of people quit here. Some people quit at this next phase. This next phase is the valley of despair. Sounds really terrible, but if you keep going, you'll get through it. So this is when most people give up. This is what they said. All of the pain of the change that you're wanting is felt. It's uncomfortable. And the benefits seem really far away or less important to you. And there's a really fast and easy way to make the discomfort stop. You just quit. You go back to the way that you were used to doing things. You go back to not working out. You go back to hitting snooze, or not hitting snooze. You go back to hitting snooze and not getting up out of bed every morning. You rationalize in your head, it wasn't so bad before. You forget the benefits that you wanted. You forget, that's why at the beginning we have you think about the goals that you want, the way that you want to feel. If you quit on change when you're in the valley of despair, you go back to that first stage, which is a whole lot more fun than being in the valley, but then you have to get through the cycle again. And if you keep quitting at the valley of despair, you're always going to get stuck there. There's something else that happens when you stop at the valley of despair. It really depletes your confidence in yourself because you're always quitting on yourself. You're quitting when it gets hard and when it gets uncomfortable, and you are never fully realizing your potential. You're never fully pushing yourself through to see what you're made of and see what you're capable of. And so we lose confidence in ourselves. It's at this stage, like I said, that you need to have a compelling vision for what you want. It's critical. And it has to be something that you want so badly that you are willingly paying the price of your own comfort to get it, because change is hard. It's uncomfortable. So the only way to get to the other side is through. You have to go through this stage, through the discomfort. You can't go around it. There's no other way. And once you get through it and you keep going and you're consistent, you start to go back up. You realize this fourth phase is called informed optimism. And at this stage, your likelihood of success and developing these new habits and making this change in your life is much higher. Your success is much higher. You're back in the positive emotional area of the graph. The benefits of your actions are starting to bear fruit, and the costs of the change are lessened because your new thoughts and actions are becoming more routine. They're becoming more more habitual. The key at this stage is to not stop. So many people kind of get to this point and they're like, oh, I've got this solidified. These new habits, I'm eating more veggies, I'm working out consistently, but at this point, you're not quite there yet. Like, you haven't fully developed that consistency. Those habits are like, if things were to get hard again, or like there's a change in your routine or something always happens in our lives to make us think twice about working out and eating healthy. Like, there's so many things that can derail us. But once we get through this cycle and we build these habits in little by little, they will stick with you no matter what. And so the last stage is success and fulfillment. This is the final stage in the cycle. You're back at the top. And at this final stage of change, the benefits of your new behaviors are fully experienced and the costs of change are virtually gone. The discomfort isn't what it once was. The actions, which at the beginning were very difficult and uncomfortable, like eating more veggies because you're not used to it, or eating more protein because it's easier to eat the carbs. It's easier to grab crackers instead of a piece of turkey breast. Like, changing those habits. It's all about your habits. But those actions, which in the beginning were difficult, have now become routine. Every time you complete this cycle, well, fly. Oh, I got it. You build not only your capacity, but also your confidence. So like I said, every time you push through, and this can be like, I was just thinking of like a shorter kind of example of this is like in your workouts, because I'm doing lift 4, and every single week he wants you to increase the weights that you're using. And so, I mean, is it uncomfortable to pick up the heavier weights? Yes. Does my mind say don't do it, don't do it? It's gonna hurt. It's gonna be really hard. Yes. But the moment that I do, so that's like a quick version of this state, I guess. Like, I'm not gonna talk it through. Dan's staring at me. He's judging me. He's like, stop talking. You're talking too long. But when I push through that mentality of thinking, no, I don't want to do heavier weights, when I actually pick up the heavier weights and do as much as I can, even if it's like 3 reps, and then I switch to the lighter weights, it builds that confidence in me. And then every single time I tell myself, oh, you did it last week. You can do a few more this week. You can go heavier this week. You can do it because you did it once before, so you can do it again. At this point, you can move on to the next change that you want to implement with greater assurance of success. This cycle, the emotional cycle of change, is the description of the emotional impact of change. By being aware of this cycle, you are less likely to be derailed by negative emotions, and you are able to manage change more effectively. That was good timing. The kids just got back, so it's going to get loud. So let me know your thoughts on this. Is this helpful? Do you want to talk more about this? I think so often we think that starting new habits and changing our lives in this way, getting healthy, losing weight, we don't think about the emotional impact that it's going to take on us. And we don't think about the discomfort before we get to it and how we're going to handle it. And so maybe I should be doing this earlier in the process so that you have these tools in your tool belt to realize, okay, I know this is going to be hard. I know it's going to be uncomfortable, but I will get stronger. I will, like, knowing what to expect is so key. Okay. Talk to you guys later.